When I was 17, I came home from work and found the house empty. The furniture was gone. My parents' bedroom had been cleared out. My brother's clothes had disappeared. On the kitchen counter sat one envelope with my name across it. Inside were 6 words: "You're old enough. Figure it out." They had moved 2 states away without warning, leaving me with an electric bill, $43, and nowhere to go. I called until my phone died. No one answered. That night, I slept on the floor and promised myself I would never beg them to choose me again. 12 years later, after I had built a life they knew nothing about, my mother appeared outside my office holding the note. She said the family needed my help. But when I learned what happened the day they abandoned me, I realized they hadn't returned because they missed me. My name is Rachel Bennett, and I'm 29 years old. People often tell me I'm resilient, independent, even successful. They see the business I built and the life I've created, but none of them know where that strength came from. It began on the worst day of my life, when I was 17 years old and came home to discover that my parents had disappeared. Back then, we lived in a quiet town in Ohio. My dad, David, worked construction. My mom, Susan, stayed busy managing the house, and my younger brother, Tyler, was 13. We weren't the perfect family, but I believed we were a normal one. I even worked evenings at a neighborhood grocery store to help pay for my school expenses because money was always tight. That Friday started like every other. After finishing my shift, I walked home expecting to hear the television, my brother arguing over a video game, or my mom calling me to help with dinner. Instead, the driveway was empty. The curtains were gone. When I unlocked the front door, a strange silence swallowed me whole. The living room was almost bare. The couch, the family photos, even the dining table had vanished. I ran upstairs, convinced someone had robbed us, but every bedroom had been cleared out. Then I saw it. One white envelope sat alone on the kitchen counter with my name written across the front. Inside was a single sheet of paper. "You're old enough. Figure it out." I read those 6 words again and again, refusing to believe they were real. Then the light suddenly went out, and for the first time in my life, I realized I was completely alone. The darkness lasted seconds before my flashlight came on, but something inside me had changed. I called my mother. Straight to voicemail. Then my father. Then Tyler. I kept calling until my battery dropped below 10%. No one answered. I opened my banking app, hoping I had enough for a motel. For 2 years, I had deposited every paycheck from the grocery store. The balance should have been over $1,200. It showed 0. The next morning, the landlord, Mr. Harris, arrived holding an overdue notice. That was when I learned my parents had never owned the house. They had skipped the final month's rent and left me 3 days to move out. I called my aunt, but her voice turned cold. "Your mother said you refused to move," she told me. "She said you wanted freedom." By noon, I understood they had not simply abandoned me. They had prepared everyone to blame me. My best friend, Hannah Collins, found me packing clothes into garbage bags. Her mother let me sleep in their spare room, but I still went to school and worked every shift. 3 nights later, my father answered. "You wanted to act grown," he said. "Now prove it." Behind him, I heard Tyler shout my name. Then the call ended. I cried until sunrise. After that, I folded their note, placed it inside my wallet, and promised I would never beg anyone to choose me again. Mrs. Collins never treated me like a burden. She cleared out the sewing room, placed sheets on the bed, and told me I could stay until I found my footing. Still, I refused to become another bill she had to carry. I finished high school while working opening shifts at the grocery store and evenings at a diner. Some mornings, I arrived in class smelling like coffee and fryer oil. I missed meals, studied on buses, and once fell asleep during an exam. When my grades slipped, my counselor warned me exhaustion could cost me the scholarship I had earned. That scared me more than being tired. I reduced 1 shift, graduated, and enrolled at community college to study bookkeeping and business administration. Progress was slow. My car broke down twice, my tuition payment was late, and there were weeks when dinner meant crackers from the diner's break room. But numbers made sense to me. They did not lie, disappear, or change their story. After earning my credentials, I began helping small businesses uncover wasted money and hidden debt. Hannah joined me, and together we built Bennett Financial Consulting. By 29, I owned a home, employed 14 people, and funded a scholarship for teenagers facing unstable housing. My parents never called. Tyler tried. Messages appeared from unfamiliar accounts, then vanished before I could answer. One Monday, my receptionist entered my office looking uneasy. "There's a woman outside asking for you." Through the glass doors, I saw my mother standing there. For a moment, I forgot how to breathe. The woman standing outside my office looked older than I remembered. The confident posture was gone. Her shoulders sagged beneath a faded coat, and the lines around her eyes seemed deeper than 12 years could explain. My mother smiled nervously when I opened the door. "Rachel," she whispered. "You look successful." I didn't answer. Instead, I noticed the folded piece of paper in her hands. It wasn't the original note I kept locked inside my desk drawer. It was a photocopy of it. She had saved a copy all these years. That realization hurt more than seeing her. "I've spent 12 years wondering why," I said quietly. "Start there." Her eyes filled with tears, but she never answered my question. Instead, she reached for my hand. "We've made mistakes," she said. "Your father and I want this family together again." I stepped back. "You didn't come here for forgiveness." She lowered her head. "No." The truth finally surfaced. Dad's construction company was drowning in debt. Their house was close to foreclosure, and Tyler had somehow become legally responsible for one of Dad's business loans. They wanted me to review the company's finances and convince the bank to negotiate. "You owe us that much," she said. "We raised you." I met her eyes without raising my voice. Parents don't earn repayment for doing what they chose to do. She looked defeated. Then she quietly added, "Rachel, before you speak with Tyler, don't believe everything he tells you." That single sentence convinced me something far bigger was hiding beneath the debt. The first person I called wasn't my attorney. It was Tyler. He agreed to meet me at a quiet coffee shop on the edge of town. I almost didn't recognize him. The 13-year-old boy I remembered had become a tired-looking man with my father's eyes and my mother's nervous habit of twisting a coffee cup between his hands. The moment we sat down, he said, "Rachel, I'm sorry." I stared at him. "For what?" "For believing you left us." Those words stopped me cold. Tyler explained that on moving day, our parents told him I had chosen to stay because I hated them. He was only 13, with no phone of his own and no way to question the story. Every time he tried contacting me over the years, Dad found out and cut off his access to social media or changed his number. Then Tyler told me the part that made everything else finally make sense. Dad hadn't moved because of a better job. He had borrowed money using a custodial account created in my name years earlier. As the debts piled up, he left me behind at the old address so collection notices would follow me instead of him once I turned 18. My missing savings. The empty bank account. The lies told to our relatives. Every piece suddenly fit together. Then Tyler slid a folder across the table. "Dad did it again," he whispered. Inside were business loan documents carrying Tyler's name. One page near the back made my stomach drop. Someone had forged my signature too. 3 days later, my attorney arranged a meeting at the bank. Around one conference table sat my father, my mother, Tyler, the bank's loan officer, my attorney, and me. Dad smiled the moment I walked in. "I knew you'd come," he said. "You've always been the responsible one." For the first time in 12 years, I looked him straight in the eyes without feeling afraid. "You're right," I replied. "I came because Tyler deserves the truth." Dad slid a refinancing agreement across the table. "All we need is your signature. Once the bank sees you're involved, this whole mess goes away." Instead of picking up the pen, I opened my briefcase. One by one, I placed documents on the table. Bank records showing my savings had been withdrawn. Copies of debts opened using my custodial account. The loan guaranteed under Tyler's name. Finally, the document carrying my forged signature. The room fell silent. Dad tried to laugh. "This is all a misunderstanding." My attorney calmly pushed another folder toward the loan officer. "Our forensic examiner disagrees." Mom lowered her head and whispered, "I knew he shouldn't have done it." Dad immediately blamed financial pressure, then blamed Mom, then blamed everyone except himself. The loan officer announced that Tyler's obligation would be suspended while the signatures were investigated. Dad looked at me with disbelief. So you're just walking away? I reached into my purse, unfolded the faded note I had carried for 12 years, and laid it in front of him. You told me I'd figure it out, I said. I did. I figured out I never needed your permission to move forward. The investigation took several months, but the results were exactly what the documents had already suggested. Independent handwriting experts confirmed that neither Tyler nor I had signed the disputed loan papers. The bank released Tyler from personal liability, and my attorney ensured my name was removed from every fraudulent record connected to my father. Dad's business eventually closed, not because of revenge, but because years of poor decisions finally caught up with him. Mom wrote me a letter. For the first time in my life, it contained no excuses, no requests for money, and no attempt to rewrite the past. She admitted she had failed me. I wasn't ready to forgive her, but I appreciated that she finally accepted responsibility. Tyler moved back to Ohio. We slowly built the sibling relationship we had both been robbed of. A few months later, I stood at the scholarship ceremony my company sponsored. One recipient, a frightened 17-year-old girl, quietly admitted she thought her future had ended. I smiled and told her the truth I had spent 12 years learning. The people who abandon you don't get to decide how your story ends. Then I went home and locked that old note away forever.